narratively, this one does a really good job at packing a complete story in a 10-minute time frame. Right off the bat, when it started, I was a little worried with the setup there. I mean, we've seen that sort of beginning to films over and over again, but they do something important in the beginning of this one. It's not just the protagonist waking up and going through the routine. They're actually saying a lot about her character, which I thought was really smart and just a good, efficient use of screen time and visuals. So yeah, hats off to the way they did that. And then slowly, showing us what this woman's going through, a lot more about her character, and then giving us that change, and in simple, subtle ways, not always things that were said or done, but I feel like even her just showing up to work the following day in a light colored jacket, when it was established earlier on that she wears a lot of dark clothes and stuff like that. I thought was just really smart and really lent itself to the overall narrative, which again I thought was great, because it was actually dealing with some sort of dark subject matter in a very artsy, abstract way, which I thought was also really great and delicate the way they went about it.
This one was really touching, pun intended, always pun intended. My heart goes out to the character of Valentina, who's in such a position of power at work, but such a position of emotional distress in her own personal life. And her personal life is becoming so overwhelming that it pours into her professional life, and her work people start to notice. Visually, the office set was really realistic, and the lair was well lit and looked like an ethereal escape of sorts. Overall, I really loved the chemistry between the two ladies and watching their relationship develop. And I found this short extraordinary, and props to all the talent involved throughout production.
First off, thought it had great set design. They really created such a full environment and added believability to the piece. I thought it was well shot. I thought it had great timing, well acted. The lead character really added depth to her, and there was a richness to that character, and thought they just did a nice job of pulling together a piece and communicating to the audience and taking us on her personal journey. And just thought overall was a really nice piece of filming.
Yeah, this one is really solid. It's very well performed. It's such heavy and kind of intense subject matter, and I feel like it was handled really well. I love the way it was shot too. The very interesting lighting, and I mean the sound design, which doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the way it's shot, but that was really well done. I love the kind of incorporation of the storm, and yeah, it was just really solid. I feel like there was a really great chemistry between the protagonist and all of the supporting characters.
I really liked getting this kind of behind the curtains look into a very cold fox in the workplace, and it had a very Devil Wears Prada feel to it. I thought it was very successfully done. I feel like I know this person who is everyone is very intimidated by and is cold and direct. So it was really nice to peek behind the curtain and see maybe the emotional reasons for having those walls up and having those barriers. And it went into a very real topic about sexual intimacy and how people traverse that. It was just a really cool exploration of that topic, and it felt very empathetic. And I've very much appreciated both the actors' performances, because they carried that empathy for the characters so well.
What works really well here is that we don't know exactly what happened to her, which allows people who have experienced some kind of trauma that may relate to her on an intimate and emotional level. They'll be able to do so really unbridledly, because they can almost put themselves right in her shoes, because her story is left to a certain extent ambiguous, the background of it. We don't get a bunch of exposition exactly about what the troubles are, but we do get a beautifully somber look at what her current situation is in trying to overcome the aftermath of that trauma. And I think it's really done respectfully here. It's not glorifying self-harm or anything like that. It's really showing a therapeutic technique of how to let others in. And that's what we ultimately see her do. She is able to finally break down just one more wall, and she clearly still has walls to go, but she's able to break down at least one more and start letting people in, both her therapist, now her coworker. We see the progress being made, and I think it was shown also in a great visual way by the little snack she has, which is clearly like sprinkles, and it's almost childish in a good way, from a psychoanalytical perspective, because she is giving herself a little treat, a little sugary treat, the way a child would. So it's a lot to unpack in 10 minutes, and it's very well acted from, all involved, especially the main protagonist.
Very moving. This topic is very close to my heart, so I really appreciate filmmakers that dare to show this kind of topics on film or on screen. I think the performances, cinematography, and music from this film were all top-notch. I really liked it.